Welcome to PelviBiz podcast. I'm Dr. Kelly Alhui. I've grown my pelvic health practice, orthopelvic physical therapy, and now I'm helping pelvic health professionals do the same. Each week, I give you the knowledge you need to grow your practice. Let's get into today's episode.
Our episode today is sponsored by Jane, an all-in-one practice management software. The team at Jane recognizes how hard you work to support your patients or clients, and they aim to do the same for you. That's why Jane offers unlimited phone, email, and live chat support with every subscription. First, we recommend booking a personalized one-on-one demo with a member of their team. It's a great way to make sure Jane will be the right fit for you and your practice and to see Jane's features in action. And Jane even offers a free data import, an account setup consultation, and online training tools to help set you up for success. To get started, head over to jane.app/start. Their team would love to connect with you to see how Jane can help you in your practice. You can also use the code PelviBiz1mo at the time of sign up for a 1-month grace period applied to your new Jane account.
I'm going to talk about the PelviClock. For those who don't know, I created something called the PelviClock. And this clock is a tool for all pelvic health providers that allows you guys to better communicate with your patients, with your staff, if you have it, to understand where people's pain points are, and also use it as a training tool for your staff. And so I originally came up with this because always when I took Herman and Wallace classes and any Con Ed class, they would always refer to the pelvic floor like a clock. And I'm a very visual person. So I was like, okay, why are we not putting a clock down there? Because I remember my first Herman and Wallace class, I said, take the clock off the wall and put it basically like it's facing out towards your vag, or, away from your vag, kind of like aiming towards the practitioner. And I'm like, okay. So I had that visual in my head. And sometimes when I tell patients that, they're just really confused on what side is the clock? Is that 9 o'clock or is that 3 o'clock? They're just confused. So what I decided to do was, when I was in clinic, I took a normal clock and I just posted the words around the clock. It looked very handmade, let's just say. And I had that up in clinic and everyone would always comment on it, be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then also when I would hire new providers, I'm like, guys, if you get confused about what muscle you're on, just look at the clock. And then you can talk about that muscle while you're also showing the patient. So it's basically like having your anatomy book out, but it's hanging up on the wall. Clearly you can take it off the wall and actually show it to the patient. And so that's what I started to do. And patients started to get it. And they were like, oh my gosh, this is an amazing visual. I love it. Because the word obturator internus is very hard to remember. And instead, we should just say at 11 o'clock. That is where this muscle hangs out, 10 and 11 o'clock. And so that is why I created the PelviClock, to have better communication between the patient and the provider so that they can tell you, hey, this is where the pain's at. And it's accurate because now they know, like, this is part of the clock and they're accurately telling you, like, hey, this is where I'm having the issue. Compared to if they're confused about the clock, they're not going to use the clock. So even if you're like, hey, come back and let me know when you use that wand or your finger, what part of the clock was painful, they don't even know what the clock is yet and what number they're even going to describe to you because they're still confused about which way the clock is facing and they don't have a visual. So for those people that are very visual learners, which most of us are, that is why I developed this clock. And it also looks cute in your office if you have one. I highly recommend, if you have provider friends that are in the pelvic health world, whether or not they're chiropractors, NPs, doulas, nurse practitioners, PT, OTs, whoever is in the pelvic health world, I highly recommend getting them a clock, especially for Christmas coming up, or Hanukkah. Okay, we're already in it. So if you guys, want a clock, reach out to me. But this is why I actually developed it. So why I love it. Let me just talk about why I love it. The reason why I love it is, again, because it is very clearly laid out on the muscles of the pelvic floor. People have a visual. There's the anus, there's the vaginal opening. Yes, I have a male version coming out, guys, okay? But there is currently right now, we have the anus, the vaginal opening, the urethra, we have the whole bowl of the pelvis, we have the tailbone, the sacrum on there, we have the levator ani muscles on there laid out individually. We have the coccygeus, the piriformis, the obturator internus. These are very important muscles so that patients understand that it's not just one muscle. There's a multitude of muscles, and truly understanding how to treat their pelvic floor. So I will take the clock off the wall. I will take the wand by Amanda from Intimate Rose, and I will physically show them with the clock. So I'll hold the clock up. You guys can't see me for those that are listening on the podcast, but I will hold the clock up and I will put the wand or my finger in like this, and I will say, okay, I need you to take your pad of your finger, face it up, and go and hit 11 o'clock. And I will physically have them actually do it while I'm watching them, okay? So that way, and they're just doing it on the clock. They're not doing it on their normal vag, okay? But that way I can see that they are understanding that this is 11 o'clock, this is 10 o'clock, this is 9 o'clock. I'm also getting them to understand that there's different layers of the pelvic floor, and that some are superficial, some are more deep, and where to hit on the wand or their finger on how to actually lengthen their pelvic floor. Now, if they really want to go deep, I highly recommend the wand. I recommend the wand anyways. Most people like the wand. So I use the wand on here and have them demo for me so that they truly can then come back and articulate to me, hey, this is what was the main issue. And then together we can make faster progress because now they're actually reporting things that are very accurate, and we're able to move, quicker through the treatment because it's very clear on where the issue is. Like I said, use this clock for training purposes. So when I hire, let's just say like a new grad, okay? A new grad comes in, everyone has a Herman Wallace level 1 or APTA level 1. They come in with that. And then basically I have a whole training series that I take them through, a whole mentorship series, all that kind of stuff. Now with the mentorship series, I use the PelviClock to help educate people on it, and it's a reference point. So when they are, like, let's say, even if I had a pelvic model, the pelvic model in clinic does not have all the words on it. So if they wanted to say the name of the muscle, okay, so that patients start to know what familiarity with these muscles, then they can use the clock, because the clock is like a cheat sheet. So all they're doing is taking the clock off the wall, holding it up. Then they can also demonstrate on the model if they would like, and or the clock, and then it's there. And then they're also learning while also teaching the patient at the same time. So like I said, I use this clock for multi-purposes of it because it's just been super helpful. And I find that the patients go nuts over it. They think it's so clever. They think it's so cute. And like I said, it's just a really good visual to have hanging in your office. So I'm going to do a re-release of these things very soon. So be on the lookout, because I cannot wait we just got another whole shipment in for you guys, because I know they're hot demand. So they are, we do have a limited availability because I have to, reorder these and all that kind of stuff. So if you guys want it, just DM me, send me an email, say, hey, PelviClock, and we will get you one. But we cannot wait to relaunch these guys. And I just wanted to come on and talk about how I basically use it in the office. And even if you're mobile, like, still, you bring the clock with you. It's really how you can talk about the pelvic floor and have a amazing visual and a great understanding. So hopefully that helps give some insight of the PelviClock and why I developed it. But can't wait. If you guys want one, go ahead and DM, email me, and let's get after it. Bye, guys.
I consider myself a business and life coach. Are you ready to live the life of your dreams as an entrepreneur? If so, let's chat. See the episode notes below and go ahead and book a call. See you all next week.